and culture and the purpose can be set by the board. So the boardroom is really important for every organisation across the UK. With regard to the diversity and inclusion agenda, yes, I see that the board is responsible and the chief exec's responsible. But bear in mind, I work with loads of companies, and it doesn't mean to say that they know what they're doing. If you get involved in anything that's really important, and Alistair also mentioned about well-being, employees going up the agenda in this crisis when historically they haven't, this is a change programme. If you want to be inclusive and be successful in managing a diverse team, you need to take it seriously as a long-term change programme. Most organisations that I come across are not. They're faffing around with a few initiatives and hoping for the best. And we know from the research and we know from the data that we haven't shifted the needle. Forget the fact that we've got 30% of women on FTSE 100 or FTSE 250 boards. My comment to that is whipty flipping D, because outside the FTSE 350, we're at 12% and we have not moved. And then you go to the executive side, which is where it's really important. We're very, very slow. So what do I think's going wrong? Well, the first thing is there's a deep lack of understanding within senior management teams with regard to what inclusion actually means. Now, the chief exec may say, I get it, I have daughters, don't you know? But the reality is many of them are not experts. They're experts in managing their business. And this is different. Inclusion is extremely difficult for all of us. It's difficult for me as well. A lot of companies have brought in unconscious bias training programs, and the research is out there. You may still be in the middle of yours. They don't work. They're a mere blip in the change journey. They're not going to actually change anything. What really needs to happen is conscious inclusion, training people to be inclusive, good listeners, chair meetings very well. They speak for less than 10% of the time. Being inclusive and making sure that you do successfully have disagreement, but you're listening to different ideas, left field ideas, is extremely hard. There's an enormous amount of poor communication across the businesses that I see with regard to why diverse teams perform better. You may have read the Kool-Aid and McKinsey and all that sort of stuff. That doesn't mean to say your leadership team underneath really understand. Lots of companies, and particularly the ones that are male dominated, which is most of them, but let's take financial services or property, as Alistair honestly admitted earlier, they don't understand what's going on. They're seeing these initiatives going on and they're frustrated. So a lot of work has to go in with regard to the permafrost in terms of making them inclusive. That is actually about leadership training. And then on top of that, you've got lovely, excited, I would say overly excited enthusiasts. They're not experts. So it could be the powerful woman who doesn't necessarily know because she's a fantastic, unique survey of one. You've got your LGBT leads, you've got your black minorities, you've got your BAME, and we've all set up networks, and we're all chatting away. And then we've decided to let them lead the program. Well, that's assuming they know what they're doing. And they may not. Some of them are excellent, by the way. And it's not to say you shouldn't have a minority network. Minorities need somewhere to go to find support and talk. But most of these organisations are not giving these networks a mission and outcome or a budget. Do you normally manage your business like that? And those networks are going left field, which is why I've said NEDs need to get involved. And afterwards, I'll share with Richard the 5 questions I think non-execs should ask. Now, bear in mind, the non-execs don't necessarily know what they're doing either. This is not their area of expertise, but you often get diversity and inclusion experts, and some of them really are experts within your business, but they're often too junior to influence the top. There are exceptions in that, and that's why NEDs need to get involved. There's a massive amount of research here of what doesn't work. Do you know what doesn't work? King's College have done a huge amount of research on this, and I'm just going to give you 5 things that apparently don't work. You don't shift the dial via employee minority-led networks. Yes, they are important. You don't shift the dial by trying to fix the minorities, by giving them a little bit of leadership training. It's not them that are the problem, it's the inclusiveness around them. Mentoring programs, very popular at the moment. We know mentoring is important. I bet if you asked Alistair if he's had a mentor, he's had a really high quality mentor, and he's probably had 20 or 30 mentors. People have supported him over his career. Cross mentoring, one person with one other person, hoping that's going to work. Well, good luck with that project, because it's very clear it doesn't work. I'm not saying it's not nice. Unconscious bias, I've mentioned already. And then what about the idea of making sure there's a woman or a diverse person on an interview panel? One doesn't work. There's a reason we've got 30% on boards. One voice doesn't necessarily work. This is hard. This is your brand. This is your business. Treat it like those marketing budget, which as Richard's already said, they all fly around anyway. Are you treating that seriously? If you're serious about this, diverse teams perform better. However, they are much, much harder to manage. Recruiting a bit of diversity usually makes you go backwards. This is long-term and it's tough. And I'll just read out the 5 questions and then I'll stop, because I know I'm under time pressure. What should the non-execs be asking? How is our D&I performance helping or hindering our strategic objectives? Let's get it back to the top. Is our board getting regular updates? I know we've identified one person to be responsible for D&I, but are they getting the right information? Are they looking at the right metrics? Most aren't. That comes on to gender pay gap reporting and pay gap ethnicity reporting. Do you even have the data? The amount of inaccurate reporting of the most simple gender pay gap is utterly laughable, because people are getting the data wrong. You can't do anything without the right data. So I would bring experts in to do that, and not just rely on your HR department reading the government's initiative and having a go at a simple average. It might look simple, it's not. Garbage in, garbage out. Look around your own table at your board. Clearly you need a few diverse voices as well, and then also start looking about where you have initiatives, because every single firm, even in the professional services, is different. Every single department is different, and you need to tackle things in different ways accordingly. So